Today's episode tackles something many practice leaders know they should think about, but often push to the bottom of the to-do list: when and how to scale your medical practice. Now, if you're a physician or practice administrator, your day is already more than full. You're seeing patients, solving staffing problems, reviewing financial reports, answering portal messages, and probably skipping lunch to do it. So, when the topic of expansion comes up, it can feel overwhelming, unnecessary, even reckless. But here's the truth. In many cases, not growing when your practice needs to can be more damaging than growing too soon. Welcome to Medical Money Matters, the podcast where you can find experts, answers, and resources so that you can achieve mastery over the financial and business aspects of your practice. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Jill Arena. I began my career in accounting and finance, and I have more than 30 years of experience running medical groups. I own and operate a national healthcare consulting and revenue cycle company, and I am the author of Physician Heal Thy Financial Self. In 2020, I co-founded the Physician Leadership Project, and in 2025, I released Physician's Edge, the first of its kind online business education for physicians. My passion is to increase financial and business literacy for physicians. Episode 150, Scaling Smart: When and How to Expand Your Medical Practice. What's the real cost of not growing your practice when the time is right? Spoiler alert, it's more than just lost revenue. Welcome to Medical Money Matters. Today's episode tackles something many practice leaders know they should think about, but often push to the bottom of the to-do list: when and how to scale your medical practice. Now, if you're a physician or practice administrator, your day is already more than full. You're seeing patients, solving staffing problems, reviewing financial reports, answering portal messages, and probably skipping lunch to do it. So, when the topic of expansion comes up, it can feel overwhelming, unnecessary, even reckless. But here's the truth. In many cases, not growing when your practice needs to can be more damaging than growing too soon. And the impact goes beyond your bottom line. We're talking about team burnout, patient dissatisfaction, and even harm to your practice's reputation. The good news? There's a path to healthy, responsible growth, one that doesn't require overextending yourself or guessing your way through the process. That's what we're unpacking today. Let's start by addressing the elephant in the room: why growth feels risky, especially for physicians. Most doctors aren't trained to think like entrepreneurs. They're taught to minimize risk, to gather all the facts, to avoid making mistakes. That mindset is critical in clinical care, but in business, it can sometimes lead to missed opportunities. So many physicians are deeply risk-averse when it comes to growing their practices. Maybe they've seen colleagues struggle. Maybe they've been burned before. Or maybe they're just not sure how to evaluate the risk in a structured, data-driven way. That uncertainty leads to hesitation, and hesitation, when your practice is bursting at the seams, can be costly. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next: the cost of not expanding when you need to. Imagine this: your schedule is booked solid for the next 6 weeks. Your phones are ringing off the hook. Your front desk is exhausted. Your staff is staying late just to keep up. You're turning away new patients. Existing patients are frustrated by long wait times. Any of that sound familiar? That's not just a busy practice. That's a practice that's outgrown its current capacity. And while it might seem like a good problem to have, it's a problem nonetheless. When you delay expansion, your team suffers. Burnout becomes the norm, not the exception. You start losing your best people. Your culture deteriorates. Staff morale drops. Patients suffer too. Long waits, rushed visits, difficulty getting appointments. All of these erode trust and satisfaction. And in a world where patient reviews can shape your reputation, that's a risk you can't afford to ignore. There's also the matter of opportunity cost. How many patients are going elsewhere because they can't get in to see you? How many referrals are being lost to competitors who have more capacity? How much revenue is left on the table because there's literally no room or time to do more. And here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Staying in a constant state of overcapacity limits your ability to think strategically. You're stuck in survival mode. You're reacting, not leading. And that can quietly stall the long-term growth of your organization. And if you're not careful, it can burn you out. So how do you know when it's really time to expand? There are a few clear signs that a practice is ready or overdue for growth. 1, your clinicians are consistently booked out for weeks at a time and new patient access is minimal. 2, your staff is stretched thin and turnover is rising. 3, you're hitting operational bottlenecks, whether it's not enough exam rooms, limited front desk capacity, or an overwhelmed phone system. 4, you're turning away patients or referrals. 5, your payers or partners are asking for services you can't provide due to space or staffing constraints. These are all indicators that your practice has reached or exceeded its current limits. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's subtle, but ignoring these signs can mean stagnation or decline when your practice really should be thriving. Now, let's debunk a common myth. Growth doesn't always mean opening a brand new building. There are many ways to scale smart. You might add another clinician. You could extend your hours or offer weekend coverage. Maybe you launch a satellite clinic in a high-demand area. Or perhaps you expand your service lines, adding behavioral health, diagnostics, in-house lab work, or even telehealth. Perhaps you consider adding some retail products. Growth can also be infrastructure-focused, upgrading your phone system, redesigning your check-in process, investing in better scheduling software, adding remote staff. These operational expansions can have just as much impact as physical ones. The point is, growth doesn't always require a huge capital investment. Sometimes it's about leveraging what you already have and organizing it more effectively. But whether your growth is physical, operational, or clinical, it has to be done thoughtfully. That's where a scaling plan comes in. You're listening to Medical Money Matters, a weekly podcast brought to you by Healthy Practices, a healthcare consulting and revenue cycle company dedicated to keeping our clients independent. Please reach out if we can do anything at all to support your practice. You can find more information online at healtheps.com. That's www.healtheps.com. Please follow or subscribe to get all future episodes downloaded as soon as they're released. Every successful expansion starts with clarity around why you are growing. What problem are you solving? What outcome are you chasing? That clarity helps you build a plan that's both strategic and sustainable. Here's what that plan should include. First, a volume and capacity analysis. Look at provider schedules, patient flow, and wait times. What's your true demand? Where are you turning people away? Where are your bottlenecks? This isn't about gut feelings, it's about data. Second, a solid financial model. How much will the expansion cost? Think build-out, equipment, staffing, marketing, insurance. Then project your expected revenue. When do you break even? What's the ramp-up period? Model a few different scenarios, conservative, moderate, and aggressive. Or, as we like to say, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So you're prepared for all outcomes. Third, operational readiness. Who will you need to hire? Can your current team absorb the growth, or do you need to restructure? Do you have the systems in place to support a second location, a new service line, or additional patient volume? What changes need to be made to your scheduling templates, workflows, or physical layout? Fourth, payer considerations. Will you need to notify payers of a new location or services? Will this impact your fee schedules or credentialing? Don't assume this part is automatic. Many groups forget it, and it delays reimbursement. You'll want to start this notification process 3 to 6 months in advance at a minimum. Fifth, governance and leadership. Who's going to own the new initiative? Who will manage day-to-day operations? If you're adding a new site, who's in charge? Clarify reporting lines and decision-making authority early. It will save you a lot of confusion later. And finally, Don't forget marketing. Even if you're just adding a new provider or a few more hours, let your patients and referral sources know. Use your website, email lists, social media, and staff to communicate the changes. A quiet expansion is often an underperforming one. Now let's talk about the real-world challenges that can get in the way of scaling. Fear of failure is at the top of the list. No one wants to make the wrong call. But waiting too long is its own kind of failure. Sometimes the biggest risk is not taking one. Another common challenge is leadership burnout. When practice leaders are already overwhelmed, the thought of expansion feels impossible. That's exactly why you need a clear, step-by-step plan and why bringing in outside support can be a game changer. Partner disagreements can also stall progress. One physician wants to grow, another wants to stay lean. These conversations require data, transparency, and shared goals. When handled well, they can strengthen the partnership. When ignored, they can fracture it. And then there's staff resistance. People get used to routines. Change is hard. But clear communication, proper training, and involving your team early in the process can go a long way in easing the transition. Let me share a quick example of what smart, supported scaling can look like. A suburban family medicine clinic we worked with had 3 providers, a 6-week wait for new patients, and a front desk team on the verge of quitting. Their online reviews were tanking, and their physicians were exhausted. They knew they needed to grow, but they didn't know how. That's where we came in. We helped them analyze patient volume, model out the cost of adding a second location, and build a phased staffing plan. We restructured their front-end workflows and implemented a cloud-based phone system to reduce missed calls. We supported them through payer notifications and credentialing. Within 12 months, they doubled their provider capacity, opened a satellite site, and restored both patient and staff satisfaction. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't always easy, but it was absolutely worth it. That's the power of intentional growth. When done well, it doesn't just expand your footprint, it expands your impact. So here's what I want you to take away from today's episode. First, growth isn't something to fear. It's something to plan for. If your practice is showing the signs that it's outgrowing its current capacity, pay attention. Ignoring it won't make it go away. It'll just show up in other ways: burnout, turnover, and missed opportunity. A bit like a game of whack-a-mole. Second, you don't have to figure it out alone. The team at Healthy Practices has helped dozens of practices scale smartly, whether that means adding a provider, launching a second site, or restructuring operations to handle more volume without more chaos. We bring structure to what often feels like an overwhelming process, and we help you grow in a way that matches your values, your market, and your long-term goals. If this episode resonated with you, if you're thinking, maybe it's time for us to grow, reach out. Even if you're not ready to act yet, a conversation can help clarify your next steps. You can schedule a discovery call, grab our free resource on planning for expansion, or just shoot us a note. We're here to help you grow with confidence. Thank you for joining me today on Medical Money Matters. You're building something important, and you deserve the clarity and support to scale it wisely. Keep leading with purpose, and when it's time to grow, grow smart. Until next time. You can find more information online at medicalmoneymatterspodcast.com, and you can sign up to be notified when enrollment opens for the Medical Money Matters e-learning program for a mini MBA physician style, which will carry CME credits and will be released in upcoming months. In that, we'll do an even deeper dive so you can understand dynamic budgeting strategies, cash flow forecasting, and other more esoteric financial concepts. We've included those links in the show notes. As I like to close out these podcasts, congratulations on taking the next step in your professional development and for making the commitment to learn about the financial and business aspects of your practice. I look forward to being on this journey with you and send you my heartfelt gratitude for all that you do for your patients all day, every day.